Good morning, we're at the Exponent Show, and I'm here with Don and Siegfried. Siegfried, good morning, my name is Peter Bruninger with the Absolute Sound, and you're very well known in the industry.
I'm Siegfried Linkwitz, yeah.
Good, and good morning.
Good morning, Don Naples.
Hi Don, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Well, tell us what you have here today.
Well, what we have here, Peter, is a pair of dipole loudspeakers that uses electrodynamic conventional drivers. So we have a system that is capable of very high dynamics, covering the whole frequency range as a dipole radiating forwards and backwards, and not in this plane here, not up and down and not in this plane. So it is a broadband directional speaker, and that is very important for how the speaker interacts with the room. You may notice that we have these speakers standing free in the room, away from the wall behind it, away from the side walls. The purpose for that is that the reflections that you always have, like the sound coming from the speaker, hitting the wall, bouncing back, the reflection is delayed compared to the direct sound that a listener here would get first, right? The direct sound comes here first thing. The reflection being delayed in the order of 6 milliseconds or more contribute, of course, to what you're hearing. But because they are delayed in our brain perceptually, we can disassociate them from the direct sound. To give you an example, in the extreme case, sometimes you come into a room and there's a clock ticking and you hear it, and then after a while you're not even aware of it anymore. You don't hear it until someone said, "Oh, do you hear the clock ticking?" And then it's again there, right? So in a way it's a similar thing if you do the acoustics and psychoacoustics right. There is a room, of course, that we are aware of, but when you get lost in the music, you lose the sense of this room and you experience the room that is created as a phantom between and behind the speakers.
I understand.
Yeah. So that is really the key piece for these speakers.
Now there's another person involved in this room, and that's the person who's making the speakers and getting them out to the public.
Right. And that is Don. And he is the one, an enthusiast, I would say, right?
Yes, for sure.
You heard the things at my house, and
yes,
then
came home, sold my system, and built my first pair of Orions, and that was 2004. We've been making Orion speakers ever since then.
That's wonderful. Where are you based?
Healdsburg, California. So it's Northern California, about 60 miles north of San Francisco. The cabinet structure is, we primarily use hardwood, solid hardwoods, rather than laminates. So the side panels and the baffle panels are all solid wood. The woofer cabinet portion of it is veneered, so that structurally it gives us integrity with the large holes that we have in there for the woofer cutouts. There's only a small amount of wood on the side, so we don't use hardwood in that area. We use a veneered multi-layer.
We're looking down at the woofer, it's firing upward.
Yes, and there's another woofer, the second woofer is right here and exits from the back, so it's a full dipole system. Excellent. Even the mid-range driver appears to be mounted on the baffle panel, but it is not. It's actually mounted on a bracket that is in the back of the speaker, and that's also solid wood. And that isolates it from the baffle panel.
Oh, that's ingenious. Look at that. It's sitting there in its own mounting template.
Yes.
Yeah, it's only in the front here, there are no mounting screws. There's only a rubber gasket behind it to provide an air seal.
That's a lot of technology. What's the price point for the loudspeaker?
These are $14,750 a pair. And that includes an analog signal processor that's used to create an active crossover, do some other filtering in that. But the active crossover function allows us then to divide the frequencies up so that we have a multi-channel amplifier driving the speakers. And that way the pair of tweeters have their own amplifier, the mid-range has its own amplifier channel, and each of the woofers have their own amplifier channel. So if you have a passage where you have tremendous bass excursion and there's a big draw on the power to drive the bass, the tweeter and the mid-range are oblivious to that. They have no idea that that's even going on, so there's no smearing of the sound.
Yeah, the sound to me when I was listening yesterday was effortless.
Yes.
Yes. Well, great. Well,
Yes.
thank you very much. That's a great overview of a very technologically advanced cabinet structure and product with outboard crossover and multi-channel drive capability. This is a speaker for the 22nd century. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.